Chapter 3, Marching Out of Step. When the church I planted closed, my dream died. I know a piece of me died too. I still can't quite describe what was lost, but I know I'm not the same guy. I don't have the same confidence, the same drive, the same direction, the same hunger for God. My pace is slower, my observations greater, and to be honest, my expectations are lower. As the church plant was shutting down, I sat with a group of pastor friends from other area churches bearing my soul. I was hurt, dazed, and confused. This group of guys had been meeting with each other for a couple of years just to share thoughts, ideas, plus personal and church issues in a safe setting. "What do you think you will do now?" one of them asked me in a concerned manner. "I don't know. Sometimes I think I just want to maybe go lead worship in a church somewhere for a year or so and dry out." I had no direction, no goals, no specific dreams for my life and ministry anymore. Playing guitar and leading worship was really a fallback skill I had because I'd been doing it for so long and I'm good at it. A week later, the local Presbyterian pastor who was part of that group asked me for coffee, and he said, "I want to offer you that job." "What job?" "The one where you lead worship for a year and dry out," he grinned slyly. The church had recently been through a split when the associate pastor had tried to lead a coup against him. Their bylaws required a vote to dismiss an ordained pastor, and months had been spent maneuvering with political intrigue and clandestine meetings on the part of the associate pastor against the pastor and the board. When the congregation finally voted, it was 124 approving the dismissal of the associate and 115 against. He was fired, angry words were flung at the pastor and the board by his followers, and a good portion of the people left. That had been only 8 months earlier. The church wasn't even close to having it covered. It wasn't going to be an easy job to take, and they were Presbyterian. They were a choir robe wearing, hymn book singing, pipe organ playing group. They wanted to learn to get contemporary. I'm an old-grown bluesy rock and roller. I thought I belonged there as much as a milk bucket under a bull. In the months preceding laying down my church plant, I kept having people tell me that God wasn't finished with me yet. They told me how he had bigger and greater things in store for me. They prophesied that I was not even in my promised land, let alone ready to settle down and occupy territory. Helping liturgical Presbyterians learn to clap at all, let alone on beats 2 and 4, wasn't what I had in mind for a move up. I thought the only way I'd be sent to a wounded, liturgical, traditional Presbyterian church was as penance for my sins. Turns out I'm a bigger sinner than I thought because I signed a 1-year contract to help them and spent the next 4 years there. It was tough going at first because I only play guitar, not piano, and some of them simply didn't appreciate the instrument. Others didn't like the contemporary style. They show emotion and move like Scottish Presbyterians. One guy in the worship team told me I was the abomination that causes desolation in the sanctuary. He surprisingly quit the worship team. But I would make some outstanding friends there, many of whom I cherish today. I had some great times, and I added about 60 hymns to my repertoire, a bunch of which I still play today. We did a blended single service for the first year, giving the congregation a chance to combine their remaining strength in one room at one time, so they began healing. At the end of the first year, the leadership came to me asking me for a longer commitment. They had bought some land several years previously and were getting an offer on the current building for $5 million. They wanted to take that, combine it with another $5 million they planned on borrowing, and then move to the new location. The actual construction and move would take 2 to 3 more years. My 2 oldest daughters, who are twins, were freshmen in high school, and I agreed to stay through the process until they graduated. It was kind of obvious from God anyway, because at the end of that year, I still wasn't sure about my own healing, and the drying out process wasn't anywhere near complete. We divided into 2 services that next season, one traditional and one contemporary, and took off flying. As the architectural plans and ideas unfolded, I knew I didn't belong. Every time I contributed an idea or expressed opinions about the worship setup and tech issues, I was vetoed or shot down. They changed the church name in the process to something innocuous, trendy, corporate, and vague. I didn't care for the design, wasn't inspired by the ideas, and realized right away that they were building their own dream house. It wasn't one I wanted to live in, but I would do my best to help them create it and then move on. A total of $10 million of God's money got spent on that project. It was nice, but not my style. What bothered me most was that when the move finally happened, no new ministries were created or launched. All the things we did at the old site were exactly what we did at the new site. We had a paid preschool before and we had one now, although the new one was better designed. Nothing new was done in youth ministry. The children's ministry had a bigger field for games, but the new preschool dominated what they could do in classrooms. They built the exact same platform layout they already had. They were virtually the same seating capacity. They did the same services, only now there were no rooms for adult Sunday classes or counseling. Nothing was created for social justice or compassion ministries. I thought some new ministry should be created, some identity established, some new opportunity to change society should be instituted. I thought there should be something tangible in the ministry arena that warranted the spending of an extra $5 million of God's money beyond what they already had to do something new, which couldn't be done before. If all that was accomplished meant having a more visible location by which to market ourselves, then it seemed like a grand waste to me. Everyone else seemed to be enjoying the ride, though. They all seemed to be marching in uniform step with enthusiasm and no questioning. I knew my stride and gait wasn't matching. I was as comfortable as a redneck in a coat and tie trying to blend in a society party. I smiled a lot and helped where I could, mostly staying out of the way. The best help I provided was through my previous experiences doing portable church. I helped them organize, plan, and engineer for ease and practicality during the 1 year they went portable between selling the old place and moving into the new one. I got their permission to begin looking toward my own future and started applying for work. I sent resumes from Maine to Australia. Literally. No one wanted me. I got one interview in that year, and the church chose the other guy. I wasn't good enough to be seriously considered. Churches want tested and proven champions in leadership and church growth. I'm certainly not a champion or a hero.